Cassidy. I am a vintage collector and a vintage seller. I sell on Etsy at the name of My Thrifted Home. My whole home is pretty much vintage items for the most part. There's very few items in here that are new, and items that are new are mostly secondhand. But if I'm buying secondhand, I'm buying vintage. That's just how it goes. That's what I look for. I've had some really good luck recently. I don't know if it's more that I'm having good luck or that I'm learning what it is that I'm looking for more now than I used to know. I don't know. But I have been finding a lot of great things recently. So I figured I'd hop on here and I do a little haul of some recent finds. Some items are from thrift stores, some from an estate sale, and then an item for myself from a vintage store. So let's hop on in one at a time. Let's start with some things from an estate sale. Last Friday morning, I went to an estate sale. It was like 32 degrees, starting to get cold here, but I stood outside. I stood in line for like 30 minutes to get in. There was one item that I was really hoping to get, but it was gone by the time I got in, but that's okay. I still found some really awesome treasures. I actually found more than I expected to find. I was going just for the one item, and from looking at the photos from the listing, I wasn't that into what was being offered, but I found some treasures that hadn't been photographed and hadn't been featured in the listing. So I found plenty of things that were actually of pretty good value and of value to myself. First up, we have this Iittala Ultimate Fuel dessert bowl. It has this great icy design around the sides, and then at the bottom, it looks like condensation has gathered from the ice melting. At least that's how it looks to me. I found this piece for $2 and it was hidden inside a cabinet. And I was just the lucky one to know to open it up and look inside. For $10, I got a set of 3 of the Nuuttajärvi, I think I'm saying that right? Probably not. The Nuuttajärvi Oivatoika designed flora bowl. Oivatoika designed flora and fauna designs to be represented in glass. Vases, pitchers, serving bowls, and little bowls like this. But all around the perimeter of this piece, you see beautiful representations of flora. And I got a set of 3 for $10. All 3 $10 together. I think I'm gonna hold on to 1 for myself, and then there's gonna be a pair of 2 coming to my Etsy. This piece is unmarked, and when I do a reverse Google image search on it, the Google Lens, I can't find anything that comes up that looks like this. So I'm not sure if it was a small artist-made batch, but I would assume that an artist would sign the piece if that was the case. But I've never seen a piece just like this when it comes to crystal figurines. It's the smoked crystal, and it's a beautiful horse. And it's a very mid-century design. It looks to be quite Scandinavian, at least to my eye. So if you know anything about this piece, I would love to know more. I think it's a really fun, beautiful, small piece in great condition. I might hold on to it for myself for a little while, especially since I don't know anything about it yet. I wouldn't want to list it on my Etsy before I really know the information behind it. For the last item for the estate sale, I found an Aurifer's crystal mushroom. Super cute little stout mushroom. It has red speckles over white opaque glass with a clear crystal base. And it's just a super sweet piece. It is signed Aurifer's on the bottom. I'm debating whether or not I want to keep this. It's always the hard part. Do I keep it? Do I not? But in your heart, you really know what really speaks to it. And I think that this one, somebody else is gonna love it more than I will. So it'll probably make its way into my vintage shop. After the estate sale, I did some cruising around and I went to a thrift store called Attic to Basement in Bloomington, Minnesota. This is a great thrift store. It's really small and I'm usually the only customer in there, which is great for me because I'm able to find some really great treasures, but they're a great thrift store. I wish more people would visit them. The people that work there are always so sweet and welcoming, and they wrap up your items with care, and I just really appreciate that. The first item being this pitcher. Oh my gosh, am I seeing a crack? Oh my gosh, of course I find a crack while I'm on camera, so that's really unfortunate. Of course, cracks happen with vintage things. Sometimes people still like to collect items even if there's a little hairline crack in it. You just always have to be super upfront with what you are selling And make sure that you price it accordingly, especially if, if there's any damage, you can't be selling that without disclosing that. Anywho, so this piece is a picture, mid-century designs on it, and it says made in USSR on the bottom. It's really hard to find a lot of information about this piece online. I've been doing a lot of reverse Google image searching. I have found some information saying it's maybe Georgian. I don't know, that's all I can find so far. So I need to do some more research into this piece. It's really cool. It has carved in designs as well as some additions onto it and some stamping. It's a neat piece. And it's glazed a beautiful bluish turquoise on the inside. This piece is also from attic to basement, and it's a Italian pottery piece. It is marked on the bottom, made in Italy. I don't think it's any special company, like, it's not a Batossi or anything like that. I don't know that much about Italian pottery, but it is really beautiful. This really great, bright sulfur yellow color. And then it has these arrows with fishes going around the perimeter of it. Glazed white on the inside. I paid $10 for it. It does have a little hairline fracture, which I knew when I bought it, but it's old. These things happen. Cool piece though. It has a nice texture to the glaze. It was special enough to pick up for sure. A really special experience I had last week was stopping in at Classic Retro by Pete's in St. Paul on University Avenue. I'd never been in there before. I had driven past and always thought, I should check that place out someday. It was absolutely incredible. It was every item that I've ever been searching for when it comes to mid-century home decor. And not only did Pete have it, but he had multiples of everything that was there. Pete was awesome. I was in the shop for probably about 2.5 hours just talking with Pete. He is an infinite well of knowledge when it comes to mid-century home decor. If he sees that you're passionate about it, he is so willing to talk about it. And I'm just really thankful that I had that experience to get to know Pete and get to see all his cool items. It was like a museum for me and just really a special experience to walk through that space. And the whole space is just packed to the gills. It's not like it's furniture. Furniture takes up a lot of space. This place is just packed with home decor. So vases, sculptural items, glass pieces, plates, dishes, lamps, everything that you could want when it comes to home decor. He had it, and just all the best examples of these pieces were there. It was so cool, and Pete was amazing. His pieces were priced, according to their value, and I wouldn't say he overpriced anything. I'd say it was all, reasonable or at value. But I definitely couldn't leave without picking up a piece. So I picked up this gorgeous vase. Pete said that he thought it was maybe by the company Bellini, which is an Italian company. And I have seen other Bellini pieces that have the same motif, this kind of flower star design. So I definitely think he's probably right about that. Gorgeous blues and greens. We have the flower and the star design on the top and the bottom. And this is just such a cool piece. It's not like it's like a major collector's item. It's not a Batossi or anything like that. But this piece I'm going to have forever. I think it's beautiful. I noticed it right when I first went in there. And even though I spent 2.5 hours there and saw so many amazing things, this is the piece that I came back to. So this is definitely a very special piece for me. Another thrift store, Old School by Steeple People, is where I picked up this really cool welded steel metal art piece. It has 4 people on it, maybe 2 adults, 2 children. There's no markings, no artist signature, nothing on here, and I can't find anything when I do Google Lens on it. But I thought it was a really cool piece. I already have it just sitting next to some houseplants, and it looks really cool over there. So I was really happy with this find. I got this for $5, so I couldn't pass up a one-of-a-kind artist-made piece. I found this art print at Resale Select, a thrift store in Plymouth, Minnesota. And this piece is by Mark Geischiker. He mostly painted large-scale abstract paintings of cityscapes and landscapes. This piece is number 42 of an edition of 200 prints, and it's probably from somewhere between 1975 and 1984. The piece is called Night Flyer Sky Jeweler, and it features a city at the base of mountains at dusk and the city lights are extending and falling from the abstracted plane and attached to a moth that's in flight. I think this piece is absolutely beautiful, but I do believe that the framing, although it's nice that it's professionally framed, the framing is doing this piece a disservice. The mat around this piece is black, but there is no black to be found anywhere within the artwork. There is some dark areas within the artwork, but that darkness is a very saturated, deep blue color. The frame of the piece is blue, which there is blue in the artwork itself, but it's a different hue of blue. It just doesn't seem to work that well together. What I think would work really well for this piece would be a lighter frame and a lighter matting. Maybe a matte color that matches one of the colors in the night sky, or even one of the colors that's in the twinkling lights that trails from the tail of the moth. This piece that I have hanging in my home, I think, is a great example of framing done right. There's the lighter to medium tone wood frame and that lighter matte, and it really just complements the piece itself. And I think this piece by Mark Geishiker could be even more gorgeous with just some changes to the way it's framed. For my last find of the week, it's this piece right here. I saw it, I loved it when I saw it, but it was really cool doing more research and finding out more about the two potters who made this piece. This is a piece by Hansen and Ross. There are two pottery artists out of Saskatchewan. This piece was made in 1972. So Hansen would throw the pots, and Ross was just a master when it came to surface decoration. So Ross did all the glaze work, surface decoration, and the firing of the pieces. And they mostly made artistic pieces like this, one of a kind, beautiful pieces of pottery. The only production pieces that they made were mugs for, because tourists would come through and want to have just a small item that they could afford. So they did production make mugs, but then put a lot of work into these one of a kind pieces. Ross died in 1974, but Hansen continued on with the name Hansen Ross with his company up until I think around 2005 or so. So I feel really lucky that this piece was made in 1972, which means that Ross was the one who did the glaze work on it. I have read that after his death, the glaze work just wasn't as detailed and beautiful as it had been when Ross was doing it. And I can definitely see just the thought and the experimentation that he put into the glaze work. And it makes this piece really, really special. I found this piece for $7. I think I could probably sell it for $250 or maybe even more. Hansen Ross pieces seem to be pretty sought after, but this piece is really special, and those really special pieces, I tend to not want to let them go. So I might hold on to this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm so excited to be bringing more vintage content to my YouTube channel, as well as home renovations on my 110-year-old home. I would love to hear in the comment section below what your favorite find from my haul was today, as well as the things that you've been finding while you're out searching for vintage goods. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.